All right, on my YouTube camarada, súbanse a la ranfla and let's get on with this business. If you like these videos, reach out and smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit the like button. You know what to do. So I'm gonna try and keep these videos a little bit shorter. Due to the YouTube algorithm. People's attention span, it's kind of a little bit easier to pay attention to if it's a half an hour or less. So I'm going to try and keep them as short as possible. So chapter 4, we left off, I was living in the Campana. It's a famous neighborhood, one of the most famous neighborhoods in Monterey, one of the most dangerous, one of the most poor neighborhoods there. So here I am, a gringo, green eyes, light hair, white skin with passage through colonias like El Cerro de la Campana, where I lived. That was headquarters. That's where the compound was. But I could also travel freely through colonias like La Indepe, La Independencia, La Risca, La Coyotera, places like that. And let me tell you, I passed through La Coyotera one day, chasing some tail, like, I was the biggest coos hound. I mean, at that age, that's all you want to do that's your life's aspiration. You want to get high, you want to get fucked up, and you want to get laid, with pretty young girls. So I was chasing some tail, and I ended up going through the Coyotera, and I'm telling you, this place looked like, they had roadblocks with big rubber semi-tires on fire, and they had open fires burning, and this place looked like the gates to hell. I was like, I don't care if this pussy was so good you throw it up in the air and it turns into sunshine. It ain't worth, what could happen up in here. But I still chased after it, and but anyways, everything was okay. But yeah, I could travel freely through colonias like that, and legendary colonias, and that the average Mexican didn't, except the ones that lived there, the average Mexicans didn't dare venture through there. A lot of the taxistas, a lot of the taxi drivers wouldn't even drive me home, wouldn't even drive me up the hill, wouldn't even take me to the Campana. But I felt completely safe. Actually, I felt protected. I felt safer there than I did more places. It was a place in the world where nobody could find me. Even the U.S. government could not extract me from there. They would have to do a whole operation to come in there and get me, and it would be a balacera, a gunfight. They'd have to come in there with and FBI agents, contrary to popular belief, Mexican or FBI agents can't carry guns in Mexico. What they would have to do, if I was wanted for anything in the United States, they'd have to call the Mexican police. The Mexican police would have to come arrest or apprehend me. And they would come with their Marines or their military, their militarized version of their federal police, or some type of national security force or federal security forces. They would come in there, do an operation, and pull me out. But that wasn't, I wasn't worried about anything like that. I wasn't doing anything on that level. I was just living my life, trying to find a nice young woman, and I did. I found a nice young woman almost every night. But I was lost. I was a kid, and I was lost. I was looking for something. I was looking for, you know, I wanted a girlfriend. I wanted a girl that I could relate to, that I could, you know, that would respect me and that I would respect her, and that there would be communication and we would have fun together and laugh, and she would be my friend, and, you know, and that she was fine as hell. And, you know, I wanted that. I didn't want to be with all these different girls. I just, you know, I longed for that. Um, I longed for that relationship, that the kind of compassion and the kind of, you know what I'm saying. That's what I was looking for. But anyways, you know, nobody would have found me there. At that time in my life, I seriously didn't see myself uh, completing my 21st birthday. You know, in my mind's eye, I saw myself surrounded by government men with badges and long guns, and I was going to die in the street, and I'd be remembered. I'd be a folk hero in the Campana, and that's how delusional I was from the cocaine and the pills and the alcohol. Um, I mean, after a while of consuming that shit and putting that shit in your body, you know, so long, it starts to take a toll. And this is just a funny story that I wanted to, you know, put up here for you guys. Maybe you guys get a kick out of it, think it's funny. Maybe you don't. But you know, I was just a lost kid. I wanted to be accepted and belong to something. I wasn't a total pervert yet. I wasn't a total scumbag yet. Uh, but after a while of doing cocaine in excessive amounts, you know, at first it's like, you know, you do a bump, you drink a beer. You know, you're chilling out with your friends talking, you do two more bumps, drink a beer. You know, it's 9:45 at night. You know, do a couple more bumps, drink another beer. Next thing you know, it's midnight. You know, do another couple bumps, couple more beers. Next thing you know, it's 1, 2 in the morning. And this shit, you know, just, and you know you got something to do, or you got to be to work at 7, 8 in the morning, or you got something to do at 9 in the morning. And this shit just keeps on going. The birds start chirping. You feel like shit. You still got a nice little chunk of, you know, Escama, that shiny cocaine, the cocaine where you can smell the ether, and you got that nice little chunk, that nice little rock. You got his younger cousin over here, and you put that away in your little watch pocket for later, you know, in case you run into some women or something. Um, but after a while of doing cocaine in excessive amounts, I mean, that's when, and I was the kind of guy that I'd be taking apart phones, ripping up carpets, destroying shit, thinking there was bugs and listening devices and microphones, and uh, but when that paranoia sets in, your mind at that time, the hallucinations are real. To you, it is real. And nobody can tell you that, look, man, you're tripping. There's nobody about to kick the door in. They don't got dogs. There's nobody out there, you know, but you're peeping out the window and you're seeing, you know, oh, that van across the street, they're watching us. They got dogs, you know, don't you see that? Don't you hear the helicopter? And, or, you know, you could be in an apartment, you know, on a second floor with the third floor above you and the first floor at the ground floor. You'd think they're coming up through the fucking floor or down through the ceiling. That's how crazy you get. And the craziness is insane. And to you, it is real in your mind. It is absolutely real. But when you come down, you know, you realize how crazy you were, and that drug-fueled paranoia, coupled with guns, with firearms, is just the recipe for disaster. I mean, someone could get hurt. Um, I remember one time, this is years later, I was in Texas, and I thought someone was hiding in a cabinet. And I had been up for days, and I could have sworn someone was in a cabinet. I was hearing noises, and I said, "Okay, if no," and I'm telling the people, we're sitting around the kitchen table. I'm saying, "Who, what the fuck is going on? What do you got? Are you guys trying to rob me? What the fuck is that?" And they're like, "Yo, man, chill out. You're tripping." And I was like, "Okay, I'm tripping, right?" I pull out my pistol, put it on the table. I said, "I'm tripping, huh?" And I picked up my gun. And I put like 4 shots into those cabinets. I fucked this dude's plumbing up. Water was spraying everywhere. I blasted the shit out of his cabinet doors under his sink. And I ended up having to, I ended up paying to repair it. And, but if I was really tweaked, like if I was on like really on that level, like these dudes are trying to rob me, they're going to hurt me, they're going to do something to me, I could have shot somebody. And what if there was somebody in the cabinet? They'd have a couple new holes in them. What they'd be doing in that cabinet could only be nefarious anyways. So, what the fuck? But, that's just, one little example. But anyways, it's just a funny little story here. One distinct memory I have is of being awake for 3 days on cocaine and drinking beer. And there you could get beer 24 hours and liquor 24 hours. So I'm up on the roof of the compound of Don Pepe's house, of Don Pepe's compound. So up there's like hammocks, and there's a grill to cook, and there's like little furniture and shit up there, and you can get down and go down the stairs into the house. But I'm up here and I'm pacing, and I'm looking, and I'm just up there on Overwatch because I think the ministeriales are coming, the judicial federal. I don't know who's coming, but I'm sure it's coming down. Because there are massive amounts of cocaine being stored here. And, I was just tweaking out. The sun was coming out in a mariachi band. You don't know a Mexican mariachi band, how they all dress the same with the same outfit. And they're coming down the street. And they got the whole regalia. I mean, they got trumpets, trombones, tubas, the snare drum. They got everything. I mean, they got they got all their brass instruments, and they're all wearing the same thing, and they got like brass on their outfits. And I'm hallucinating so hard. I'm thinking this is some kind of, and the sun glinting off these brass instruments. I think in my fucked up paranoid mind, I'm thinking they're guns, and they're all dressed the same. So this is some kind of fucked up shit police unit going on here, and they're coming down the street, and they're coming to get us. They're coming to get me. So, tweaking my balls off, I ran downstairs, and, everybody's still sleeping, and I went into, like, the gun cache, the arms cache down there, and I strapped on a ballistic vest. I went back, I grabbed the rifle, I ran back up to the roof, and chinga. I ran up there fast, and chinga means if I'm going somewhere and I'm going in chinga, that means I'm going fast as hell. I'm running there. I'm going in chinga. So I'm going up to the roof in chinga, and people are still asleep. I get up to the roof, and I start firing down at these musicians from a tactically superior elevated position. A one-man coked out hallucinating ambush. And the AK I had was a semi-auto, so there was no selector switch for automatic fire or burst fire. So I couldn't fire bursts, 3-round bursts. I couldn't fire automatic. It was just, you squeeze the trigger, you get one shot. That's what it is. So, I think after the first couple shots, mariachis were, musicians were running everywhere, diving for cover, and I hit one, with the flesh wound. It was just a scratch. He was gonna be fine, but I'm still hallucinating. So, next thing I know, Juan, Andreas, Mario el Perro, and I don't know why Don Pepe didn't come up there, but they ran up there to see what was happening, and they couldn't fucking believe it. They're like, man, get that fucking rifle out of his hand, and they're like, and I think Mario had his own gun, and now he's pointing it at me, and he's telling me, Weddle. He's like, lay that rifle on the ground. He's like, lay that rifle down. Grab it by the barrel and just lay it down, man. He's like, you're fucked up. He's like, what? He's like, you're nuts, man. You're out of your mind. So I started to come down, and I started to realize what I was doing, and just the insanity of it amazed even me. Now, shit, I'm lucky I didn't grab a grenade out of that weapon stash. That would have been too much exposure. We'd have had military. I'd have fucked up. Might have been killed for something like that. But as it was, they had taken some pity on me and realized my drug use was getting out of control. And we packed up one of the trucks, with, all the fishing poles and food, and we stopped and got food, and we went to a lake called La Presa de la Boca. And this is one of my favorite places to go with Don Pepe and the boys. We would go fishing, we would have a good time, talk shit. They would play soccer. I hated soccer, and they hated American football. So somehow we got a frisbee, and I showed these dudes how to throw frisbee, and I was trying to teach them how to play hacky sack. But I had been up for 3 days, and so they took me up to the lake, La Presa de la Boca, for me just to calm down, to drink some beers, smoke some mota, smoke some weed, and get a few hours sleep and sleep it off, and just come down and give my mind a break, give my mind and my body a break, and, relax out in nature. But Don Pepe, he did have a very long talk with me about my drug abuse, and it wasn't really a talk. It was like, well, he talked, I shut the fuck up and listened. And then, from there I was still working with the at that body shop with the arquitecto, making that texturizado shit I talked about, I mentioned in the other video, with weighing those chemicals and mixing them and shit. But this arquitecto and this engineer, they had gotten a contract at a Johnson & Johnson lab that they were building down there. And so they sent me off to work at this Johnson & Johnson lab, and I hated this fucking job. It's like over here in the States, I would have loved that job. That would have been so much money. You'd have been making so much money working that job. But down there, and like even they had Germans, Canadians, Americans, all kind of people speaking English, and I'm trying to talk to these guys like, hey, can I have a job where, I speak English? And they're like, so what? You speak English. We speak English. They're like, you might as well be one of these fucking you might as well be one of these wetbacks. What the fuck? You work for them. You make what you make. There's nothing we can do for you. You have, and really, I had no passport. I had no visa. I was nobody. I was a ghost. So I'd be there at, 6, 7 in the morning till 7, 8 at night, eating miserable bag lunches. And You know, sometimes they would bring rotisserie chickens and shit like that. A lot of time we ate things like that, and but this was just a lot of welding and painting this metal with some kind of paint. I don't know if there was lead in it or if it was just straight oil paint, but it was paint to protect these metal structures from rusting. Um, and you know, they were building like sterile labs for testing Johnson and Johnson products. Now these products, some of these products have to be, I don't know if they produce pharmaceuticals or you know, whatever they produce, but I'm sure it had to be approved by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration here before it was imported. If it was imported here, I really don't know where the shit went, what they were making, what the fuck they were going to do in there. You know, the place was barely being built. Well, I know it was Johnson and Johnson. So they sent me to work there and I was miserable. And especially coming off of all those drugs was I miserable. And you know, I got my just desserts. And, you know, after a while, that job ended. You know, I did a good job at that job. I got a bonus. And then I went back to, you know, the taller, the taller de enderezado, the body shop, working in my bodega, mixing my chemicals and mixing my texturizado and doing my job and messing with the secretary. And I mentioned that in the last video, that this secretary was a freak. Oh, she was a freak. Freaky deaky. I mean, I had them panties wrapped around my little finger. But the only thing was she was the architect, the boss, she was his girl. And he must have had some kind of feelings for her. And this guy's married. But, and this was another situation set to explode. So, that's another story for another day. But, you know, I'm still living in the Campana at this time. You know, I'm getting invited to weddings. You know, my boy Diablo, he got married. It was, you know, it was just a little wedding. You know, a nice little church ceremony in a small church. And they had a, you know, a real nice party at his house. And, you know, we all got, you know, tore up drunk. And, you know, and they had bridesmaids. And, you know, there was girls there to, I mean, they weren't there to have sex with, but, you know, at a wedding, you know, I'm a nice, handsome young guy. You know, it's inevitable I'm going to get with one of the bridesmaids. So, you know, that was a good time going to the wedding. I just started to act right and to behave right because there was an incident before that where the guy Chewy that I had mentioned in a previous video at the fruteria had told me, look, man, you know, any one of us would go out there in the street and we would not let the police put you in their vehicle and take you away. None of us would let them take you. We would protect you. But what you did today and the way you acted today, I don't know if anybody that came down and helped you. So, you know, we played jokes on each other and, you know, we went to each other's house and we would act stupid and, you know, smoke pot and drink beer and we always listened to Salsa Piña, this Colombia music, this Colombian vallenato music and rebajada. And we would dance to this shit and we would dance all goofy and, you know, just the shenanigans. It was all of us together and it was a good, you know, it was just a great life. I would go to the top of the cerro and look down and it was all green trees. I mean, this was the most beautiful slum to me. I mean, this was my slum. This was like the most beautiful pobreza in the world. As poor as it was, as broke as we were, on Sunday, we ate like kings. We drank beer till our bellies were full. You know, certain days we snorted cocaine till we couldn't snort no more. And we always had reefer. I mean, we were always toking on these big old joints. And they didn't sell rolling papers in Mexico. So they sold these cigarettes And in American money, I think they might have cost like 20 cents a pack. So you take the foil wrapper out and you kind of roll it between your fingers, and you could get the foil and peel it right off, and then it's wet like this waxy paper underneath. And you roll the weed in that and roll these gigantic joints, and that's what we would smoke. But it was a good time. But that was just one example of what access to drugs like that, and how crazy you can get and how dangerous it can get. And I mean, what if somebody else got paranoid and thought I was plotting something? You know, it was crazy. It was craziness. It was craziness on my part. I was wrong for doing what I did. But they straightened me out. I was disciplined, not disciplined too hard, but was given a stern warning. Don't ever do no shit like that again. You know, I mean, you don't fire a gun around here unless you're told to. And this is when they started letting me in on some of their stuff, but I still wasn't like part of their criminal shit yet. You know, their criminal goings on. I was still just a working dude, you know, adopted by a family that was connected, you know, and I don't even know what faction of, I'm pretty sure they were with the Gulf Cartel, because the Zetas, this is in the late 90s, the Zetas weren't really around yet. And I'm pretty sure they were affiliated somehow with the Gulf Cartel, but I don't know with what faction exactly, or who the plaza boss there was. I mean, it could have been Don Pepe. I know it was the boss over that colonia, but I don't know who the plaza boss was. So, yeah, that was just a quick little tidbit. I just wanted to upload something for you guys, keep it under half an hour. Tomorrow I'm going to do another one. Tomorrow I might do a video about this real creep Javi, who was trafficking in kids and who was doing things to children. And this guy ended up becoming my first body. And I'll tell you, the first one is the bitch of the bunch. But he got what he had coming, and I'll get into that tomorrow. It's a crazy story. It's a good story. It's gonna have you guys, on the edge of your seat. The suspense is gonna be incredible. It's gonna be awesome. So check me out tomorrow. My YouTube people. Again, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you know when the next chapter in the story comes out. In the meantime, God bless everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe out there from this COVID bullshit that's going on. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of hard times, economically. But we'll make it through it. We will get through it. We always do get through shit like this. So, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay healthy. And your boy Wild Bill, I'm not going anywhere. Your boy Wild Bill will holler at you tomorrow. So in the meantime, smash that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, hit that like button, and I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace. I les watcho después. Sobres, trucha.